Montana has become fourth in the nation in workplace fatalities. Days lost to injury or illness are about 50% higher than the national average. In their own advertisements, the Montana State Fund places the blame of these high statistics on the backs of the workers. Could it be, though, that the reason for this high rate of job injury and death dates back to a law in the 1970s? Known as the exclusive remedy for insured employers, Montana Code annotated 2005, provision 3971-411. According to this law, except as provided in Part 5 of this chapter for uninsured employers, and except as otherwise provided in the Workers' Compensation Act, an employer is not subject to any liability whatever for the death or personal injury to an employee covered by the Workers' Compensation Act. My name is Tom Glatz, friend and pastor to Sean Guyman. Sean has been suffering for over 2.5 years from transient ischemic attacks, known as TIAs, warning strokes, or mini strokes. He has also suffered from angina attacks and a near full-blown heart attack. Sean believes that these are the result of exposure to extreme levels of carbon monoxide and heavy metals from the faulty exhaust system of the delivery truck Sean drove. Before this, Sean was a healthy man in his early 40s. He was always an energetic worker. For 6 years, Sean owned and operated Classic Cabs, the only taxi service in Columbia Falls. A veteran, having served in the Air Force from 1985 to 1991, Sean received the Wing Safety Award for saving the firehouse from burning. Sean enjoyed his work for the Linen Service for almost 4 years before the incident that he will explain to you now. I met Sean in the spring of 2006 and personally witnessed the deterioration of his health since the incident. Sean will now explain what happened.
In November 2006, the truck I was operating was damaged, so my general manager cut the exhaust pipe off the truck, rendering it extremely dangerous to operate. Between Thanksgiving and Christmas, I attempted to have it repaired 4 times. He prevented those repairs. As a result of trying to keep my job and work for the company, I experienced over 100 to 140 hours of lethal exposure to carbon monoxide poisoning. As the expert in carbon monoxide poisoning, Director of Training, Bob Dwyer, explained in his letter to the state that when he examined the truck just day after Christmas, he noted that in less than 1 minute's time, according to his instruments, that the truck was up to over 450 parts per million of exposure of lethal toxicants inside the cab of the truck. And he explained to me that after looking at me and knowing the effects of carbon monoxide poisoning for well over 20 years, that I better get to the emergency room right away, otherwise I wouldn't last the day. So I went to the emergency room, and I had already experienced over the course of the Christmas time 2 angina attacks witnessed by many Christian family and family members. Also, many other people on my route that noticed what the truck was doing. when I was wrongfully terminated in January of 2007, OSHA determined that I was in the right, but that in order to get my back pay, I would have to sign a statement that let the company off the hook for what they did to me. I refused. OSHA, as well as State Fund, terminated me many times over in my attempt to get remedy for these acts against me. The consequences of these acts have permanently damaged me because I did not get proper medical care like I should have received from 2006 on to today, which the only recourse now I have is the VA. That has been helping me and has concluded that I have these complications, and they are trying to assist me in any way they can. As far as that's concerned, the state violated all my rights to any kind of compensorial motions. My lawyer actually did not represent me, but represented the interests of the state fund, as it precludes in Montana Code annotated provision 411, that it says that the representative and all persons having any right or claim to compensation for the client's injury or death, as well as employers. So there is no claim that can be presented due to this wrongful act, the unconstitutional act that has not only damaged myself, but many other people in the state, as well as those fine folks there in Libby. This cannot stand. The Workers' Compensation Act is an ambiguous act because it provides for the employer, as it states, an employer is not subject to any liability whatever. So it's being used by employers throughout the state to commit crimes against their employees with impunity of the law.
Now, Sean, help me understand here. It seems to be that in the state here, a law has been set up that precludes any employee from suing his employer for criminal negligence.
That's primarily correct, unless you've got the money to find a lawyer that will take your case against the employer and not workers' compensation.
So now your concern is that employers do not have the incentive to keep the workplace safe because it is very unlikely they would ever be sued by an employee.
That's correct. My employer has used carbon monoxide poisoning as a weapon, not only against me, but on other employees in the past.
So, Sean, please explain to us now, what is your concern about this law?
Well, my concern about this law is that it's has been used and misused improperly.
So explain which law